Hello, and welcome to Martech Advisor's Executive Interview Series. I'm Ginger Conlon, a contributing editor to Martech Advisor. And joining us today is Chalva Tchkotoua, who is CMO of etouches. Welcome, Chalva.
Thank you, Ginger. Glad to be here.
So glad you're here with us today to talk about trends and opportunities with event marketing and specifically customer events. And so it's such a great topic. But before we dive into that, let's talk a little bit about etouches. What is etouches and what makes it unique?
Great. Thank you. eTouches, interestingly enough, was started in 2009 by event managers for event managers to essentially help them address some of the key pain points that they were seeing in the marketplace. So originally, they started the company to solve their own problems, but the software they created became a success with some of their customers. So hence, eTouches was born as a open source cloud-based event management platform. Essentially, eTouches starts with the sourcing or the meeting planning, and it takes you all the way through the event management modules such as registration, marketing, the booth setup, scanning, scheduling, all the way through to the on-site badging technology and the analytics, and then the post-event reporting and all the different integrations that allow customers to pull the data off our platform.
That's excellent. It's really thorough. I love it. So let's talk about event marketing and especially customer events. So what's one opportunity for using event marketing that maybe marketers are overlooking but has the potential to make a significant positive impact?
So I think certainly one of the biggest things that come to mind is that the event experience doesn't begin with the event, and that's something that's very, very often overlooked by event managers. The event experience and the essentially setting the tone for your overall event actually starts in the pre-event marketing, the pre-event registration, the arrival at the airport, at the destination of the event, and then all of the kind of the registration either at the airport or at the hotel. So that whole pre-event experience essentially shapes the attendee expectations of what they're going to essentially experience over the next few days. A bad pre-event experience, guaranteed the next couple of days you're going to have, or your attendees are going to have a negative perception. So I think that's a critical element that's often overlooked. The one thing that very often, I think probably one of the initial barriers to adoption for event planners, especially if they've not necessarily used event management software before, is understanding that it truly is, if you're working with like an eTouches or any other company, is we work with you, and it's a fairly straightforward transition. But it's like anything else. It's adopting the technology and knowing that at the end of the day, it takes the manual process out, and it's there to make your life a lot easier. We want you to be able to focus on creating the experience for your attendees, not to be mired in the technicalities and the complexities of, do I have the right number of attendees and all the other logistics that come along with it.
Right. So speaking of challenges, what is, there's so many details in event marketing. And so, a technology can certainly help reduce some of the challenges because it's taking some of the work out and improving some of the processes. But there are plenty of challenges, like even getting the right number of attendees can be a challenge. What's one that you see maybe a little bit too often that you could provide some advice on to help marketers get past?
No, that's a great question, Ginger. And I think one of the biggest issues that event marketers truly grapple with is ensuring that you're aligning the content to the persona of the attendee that's going to be coming to your events. is the content meaningful? What is it? What's the value add? What's the value for me in terms of why am I going to spend 3 days with you on site? What am I going to learn? What are some of the key takeaways that can I expect? And I always found over the years, and I do not come from the event management space, but I've also often had events as part of my overall remit. But I always find the single best events are the ones that are very carefully planned ahead of time. The content is meaningful. You're drawing in the right audience that are going to be able to get the most out of the 2 or 3 days of networking, of workshops, of interactions with similar minded individuals. That's what creates the unique experience. And that, at the end of the day, is what allows you to essentially acquire or get the right level of attendees to come to your event. And the better the event, it kind of builds up itself. The success breeds success. If you have a great event one year, next year you get your level of attendee is going to increase, and it's it starts to kind of build on itself and its success.
Oh, absolutely. You get that word of mouth going. And so, speaking of success, let's talk about how marketers and other event managers should be tracking the success of their events. What are some of the top metrics that you see um, marketers using to prove out the ROI of their event marketing?
Absolutely. The one thing I would say I would caution is don't event marketers are often too reliant on surveys. Surveys are great and they inform the overall some of the key takeaways of the event, but you really have to ensure and think to yourself, if 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 I want to get a specific ROI, do I have the right KPIs in place? And what do I mean by that? If you're investing, I don't know, $300,000 for an event? What are some of the key metrics that you want to ensure you can then report back to your CMO or a key decision maker that this event was a success? I think there's always, booth traffic is important, but it's only kind of one leading indicator. I think attendee engagement is absolutely critical. So, who attended the event and how and why? Who did they interact with? We have the technology today to be able to show how meaningful those engagements are and what is happening. And I say that because with some of the badging technology that we're using today, we can not only track the attendees' event life cycle or footprint over the 3 days, but we know who they interacted with. Their badge becomes a digital business card. So you and I could opt in with a badge like this Loop badge right here, which allows you, it's bi-directional, it's Bluetooth enabled, but it allows us to share information. But more importantly, for an event manager, they start to see what type of interactions their attendees are having, who they're interacting with, which sponsors they're spending time with, what content they're downloading, what sessions they're attending. All this becomes very, very meaningful data. So next year, when you're looking to sign up your sponsors, you can say, by the way, I don't know, let's say Nike, you had 600 people stop by your booth, but did you know that X number of attendees spent this amount of time and downloaded this content, in respect to your organization? So at the end of the day, you can start sending very curated content to a very, very targeted audience. That's the true power of unlocking the event ROI. And we're only just scratching the surface today. And I think etouches is in a unique position because the last acquisition we made was to truly bridge the last black hole in events, which is how do you truly track the ROI and make it meaningful when making investment decisions going forward.
So let's talk a little bit more about the technology. Mobile apps are increasing in popularity, obviously, across every type of consumer and business interaction. And you see them more and more in events, even some smaller shows. So, what are some considerations to determine whether you should have a mobile app for your events?
Again, a great question. Mobile apps have almost become the default standard for any event, and I I don't say that facetiously, because it's everybody is kind of tethered to their phone. So why not use that, the phone as the conduit for the interaction, however big or small the event might be. And what I mean by that is, aside from the obvious, you've got the event agenda, you've got attendees, you've got all your sessions, the one-on-one meetings that you're setting up, perhaps with analysts or whatnot. It becomes a very interactive device when you're in sessions, and you can start doing live polling, and and the results start showing real time on the screen in front of the attendees. That real time interaction around polling is big, and voting. We like to vote on a number of different things, and getting the pulse of an audience. But being able to see that and to participate in that interaction real time goes back to the engagement. Are you engaging your audience? Are you making it meaningful for them? So I think going forward, I mean, I would be surprised if, in a year from now or 2 years from now, any event doesn't have a mobile app, essentially embedded as a key part of the experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it makes the customer experience so much better, and that actually leads me to my next question. What are some of the technologies that marketers and event planners should be aware of in terms of what can have the biggest positive impact on customer experience?
Um, I think that probably the single most important impact is is the engagement. It's the fact that attendees today can you know have a list of other event attendees that fit a similar profile to them, that they would be interested in meeting and networking with. Um, so on our app, on our Looped solution app, we actually can provide a short list of, for example, you're going to a media event and you want to network with 15 different editors that are going to be there. Well, what happens is, if you're all using the same badging technology, you can kind of shortlist those individuals, and as you go around the show, it almost becomes like a navigation system that guides you to, oh, by the way, now editor X is up ahead, and you can go up to that individual and say, look, can we exchange contact information? I would love to connect with you. And you both opt in on your badges, on your devices, Bluetooth, very simple. And now you have that exchange of information. But more importantly, what it allows, so that real-time interaction, I think, is absolutely critical. Everybody wants to know that they went to an event, and was it meaningful for them? Who did they meet? What content did they? Was it meaningful content? Did I download that content? So I think this whole the whole badging technology, which up till now really hasn't existed, is now transforming the experience of not only the attendee but the event manager. An event manager can look at a heat map on his or her iPad and realize, oh my goodness, 120 people are going to Ginger's breakout session, but only 3 went to Chalva's session. What you can then do is course correct real time. We can add another session and maybe redirect some of those 100, maybe 50 of them, and redirect them to my session, or add another session that's meaningful for them. That real time interaction and that real time course correct for events is, again, not only is it meaningful as it's engaging for the individual because they're seeing things happen real time, but for the event manager, they have the control, the destiny of their event at their fingertips, and they can create that unique experience for the attendee. The one thing that I didn't mention before when we talked about mobile apps, the other important part, and it's also related to the badging, is it's around gamification and sharing images. So many people today like to go to events and hashtag everything, and you've got this whole kind of social media map of real-time conversations that are happening. That is powerful. It's not new, but it's becoming, this augmented aspect of social collaboration and discussion is really transforming the event experience for everyone.
That's excellent. So, that makes me think about what's coming next. There's so much technology available today that's, really cool and really enhancing the customer experience and enhancing the experience for the hosts as well. So, but let's take a look at what's next and what you're excited about specifically in two
Um,
areas. In the market in general. So, any trend or tool that you're seeing that you're excited about and tracking. And also, within etouches, any new features or upgrades coming that we should take a look at or be watching out for.
okay, great. I'll start with the market first. What I'm truly excited about, and I happen to have a passion for AI, so artificial intelligence. What I mean, we're not necessarily there today, but I would think in the next year to 18 months, we're going to start seeing artificial intelligence much more embedded in into the attendee experience and into the overall event kind of uh, execution. And what do I mean by the AI? Well, the ability to gain real-time insights about attendees, their social media habits, their interactions, starting to gather all that data. Are you seeing certain trends around specific attendees? Being able to start gathering those data sets real time and being able to make informed decisions of how you structure your events in the future, I think is incredibly powerful. I would say that is number one. I'd say probably the second thing that I'm excited about that we're not seeing, I've only seen it at maybe one or two events in the last year, very few, but it's coming. It's coming to an event near you, is the whole virtual reality aspect of providing a much more immersive experience for the attendee. So how do you bring kind of, not only the virtual, but the real worlds together, especially if you're trying to introduce new, perhaps complex technologies, or it's giving the attendees the opportunity almost to touch and feel and interact with whatever this new technology might be. Or so I think we're going to start seeing a lot more virtual reality or augmented virtual reality over the next year to 18 months, I would think. I think chatbots and concierge are already starting to play a part uh, in events. So the cognitive kind of agent that can kind of guide you through your event experience and knows enough about you to say, well, Ginger, today I think you should go to ABC breakout sessions because XYZ. So having that kind of AI cognitive experience, I think is going to be great. I think a lot more matchmaking is going to happen as we get more data sets from AI, and just from just in regards to kind of the social extension, being able to capture qualitative data about the events, but and also providing a forum for event attendees to speak, to discuss openly about the event. So I think those are some of the things that we're going to start seeing a lot more of. But the most exciting part, I think, is AR and AI. And as it relates to etouches, I think we are first to market with our looped solution, which integrates our mobile app with our Bluetooth bidirectional badging technology. So now we can capture all this great data, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of attendee engagement, behavior, in terms of performance of the event. And again, it enhances and makes the event much more meaningful. And I think if we can start to overlay the artificial intelligence and AR into that, I mean, that's what I'm advocating for as the chief marketing officer. I think that we definitely need to be looking at those areas and potential acquisitions in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an exciting future for sure. Events are just going to get more interesting and engaging, I think, with all the technology available to help support them. So, um, Chalva, thank you so much for all the great insight today. Enjoyed the conversation. Appreciate you being here with us.
My pleasure.
And I also want to thank everyone who checked out the video and say be sure to check out Martech Advisor's YouTube channel and check out other executive interviews. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you.